Okay, so in this episode, we are going to be talking about strings. There's quite a lot of content regarding strings, but it's not complicated. Let's just get straight to it. Strings in Python are words that are surrounded by quotation marks. So, for example, hello, hello, or hello. These are both strings, okay? These are strings because they are surrounded by quotation marks. To assign a string to a variable, all you would have to do is do an equal sign, and therefore, and there you go. That is basically a string variable. Another interesting thing to note with strings, you can actually have multiple lines of strings by using triple quotation marks. So if I, oh dear, what's going on here? So if I do, and if I try to get 3 quotation marks, okay, now I can do multiple lines. So I can do this, blah blah blah, this whatever, blah blah blah. Now this is basically this is one string. This is one string. So if I make it into a variable, a equals this, and then I write down print a, okay, and I run it, I can see that this is one whole string. So that's it. These are basically strings. Another thing to note, strings are arrays. So what does that mean? Python doesn't actually have a data type, a character data type. In Python, a single character is essentially simply a string with a length of 1. So what that means is we can actually use square brackets to find the position of each letter inside a string. So I'll explain. If I write down print a and I use square brackets, say 3, okay, what this is going to do when I run it, this is going to tell me the what character is at position 3 of the string. So I can see here 1 2 3 is L. So at position 3 of the string, there's an L, and that's what it prints. I can also say, like, suppose if I said 5 and then I run it, then so at 5 is the string. So what if I try to give a range, or like say 3 to 7? Let's run it. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we'll have to go through that in a second. But yeah, that's it. That's all you have to do to find the array value inside the string. Okay, so we can also use the for loop to loop through a string. So suppose I said for x in the word bmx 121. Okay, this is, so now I've created a for loop. I can write down print x, and what it's going to do, the for loop will go through every individual character in the string. So it's going to go bmx121. okay, so that's that. Now here's an interesting thing, you really want to remember this: the len function. The len function will tell us the length of any string. So I need to just stick with one quote. So suppose I did biking is awesome. Okay, so this is basically the string. I can use the len function to find out the length of this string. So len g, okay, if I print this, it's going to tell me 18. Okay, so biking is awesome is 18 characters in length in total. Okay, so that is the len function. Sorry, I'm going through quite a lot of stuff. Okay, so that's that. Now let's check if we have a particular character in the string. So in Python, we can do this thing where we can actually check if we have a particular phrase or character present in the string, and all we have to use is the in function. Okay, the in function, that's it. So suppose I did print is awesome. Wait, I forgot to use quotation marks. Okay, I'll write that down again. Print awesome in G. Okay, so this is basically asking Python, is the word awesome in the string G? So if you run it, Python is going to say true. Yes, it is awesome. It also, the character awesome is inside the string G. So that's how we check if we have a particular character inside a string. Likewise, we can also check if we have a particular character not inside the string. So for example, let's say biking is rubbish. Okay, so is rubbish inside the string if we run it? No, it's false. It's not inside the string. However, what if we add the not function? So this means now I'm basically asking Python, is the character phrase rubbish not inside the string G? And that's true. The reality is it's not inside G. So now if we run it, we're going to get a true answer because the truth is it's not inside the string G. Okay, so now in Python, what if we have a string and we want only a particular number of words from the string? We don't want all of it, we just want some words. Well, that is very easy. All you have to do is slice the string. So all you have to do is write down print G and then square brackets. Now pay attention to this. We're going to have a colon, right? The colon, the points after the colon will give us the range of letters from the start, and the points before the colon will give us the range of letters from the end. I'll explain. Suppose I want the range of letters from position 2 to position 7, okay? I'm going to write down 2 to 7, okay? Now when I run it in the main, it's going to give iking, okay? So from position 2 to position 7, that's the characters that exist in the string. Suppose now, actually, you know what? I don't want that. I just want the first 7. I just want the first 9 characters. So here's what we're going to do. The character that goes after the colon is the characters in the string from the start. Okay, so I want the first 9 characters. Okay, so now if I write into the main, so that's biking is. So these are the first 9 characters. Suppose I want the last 9 characters from cool bro, then I'm going to have to put the 9 before the colon. Okay, I'm going to have to put the 9 before the colon. Okay, let me run it. That's it. Okay, so these are the last 9 characters. Okay, that's it. It's really simple. Suppose we want to get the string characters but from the start. Okay, so from reverse we use the minus a character. So suppose the end is like minus 10. So we're gonna do minus 10. We want to go reverse from minus 10 character to say minus 2 character. Okay, then let's run it. So this is the cool bro, but it's reversed. It's starting from 0. Okay, now so I'm going to go quickly through some functions that we can use when adjusting strings. So when you write down a string, if you do the dot button, so we put down our string G and we press dot, you are going to see all these different functions that you can actually do to edit the string. It's really useful. So let me go through some functions. Number 1, upper. What this is gonna do, if you write it down like this will make every character in our string uppercase. So I put F10. Can you see all of our characters? They're uppercase. I can also do G dot lower. Now all of our characters, they are lowercase. Another thing I can do is removing white space. So white space is this beginning from here. So if I print G now, what we're gonna see is that it starts at the beginning, the string. But suppose I add lots of white space, so basically a gap in the beginning. When I print G, look, it starts a little bit later, and we don't want that. So what you can do, you can actually remove the white space by just doing strip, using the dot strip G, and then remember to do double brackets after the dot function. So now if I print it, we remove that white space gap in the beginning, and it's back to the start. Another very important dot function which you can use, which you should definitely remember and keep in mind, is the replace function. So what we can do in a string, we can actually replace any character that exists inside the string with a new character. So for example, every time I see L, I want to replace L with D. Okay, so all I'm going to have to do is write down replace speech marks, quotation marks, L, and then comma, and I'm replacing it with D. Okay, so that means it's going to replace all the L's in my code with D. So if you look at the code now, biking is ready could bro. That's because the L's have now been replaced with D. We can also similarly do a similar thing with character combinations. So for example, say is, I'll replace is with is not. Okay, now let's run this. So now is not. That's been replaced. However, you have to make sure that the character is inside the string. So for example, suppose I write BMX. BMX is not inside the string. If I try to replace it, I can't actually do that because BMX isn't actually in the string. Anyways, that's it. So another final thing you can do is splitting the string. So when you split the string, you basically break the string into pieces. So to split the string, all you have to do is do g.split, and now we have to decide where we want to split our string at. So over here, I can write down the characters at which I want my string to split. Suppose I want my string to split at L. What this is going to do is every time there's an L in the string, it's going to split the string. So if I do run main, so now we can see here that the string has been split into all these different places where L exists in the code. Okay, it's a bit complicated. Often people will use this with in line with the comma function, with the comma character. So if I do comma, that more organizedly splits my code. So biking is split, really cool, bro. To combine strings, we can use the plus operator. So suppose these are two strings A and B. I could just do C equals A plus B, and then if I do print C, then these two functions, they're going to be combined. Make sure you have a space at the second word so that there's a space in between. Suppose there wasn't a space in between. Okay, there wasn't a space. It was like what? It was like this as usual. What we can also do is actually externally create a space in between them by just using two speech marks. Okay, do it like that, but make sure there's also a gap within the speech marks. Okay, we can literally do this. So if we run this now, we're gonna see hello world. Okay, that's it. Oh, another thing, make sure that the two variables are the same file types. In this case, they're both strings. Look, that's something that's very important that you need to remember. They must be both the same file types. If suppose they're not both strings, suppose one of them is an integer, a equals 5. Okay, when you run it, it's not going to work because a is an integer, a is not a string. So what we have to do, we have to convert a to a string. So we can use the string, we can use the converting function. So now we're converting a to a string. So suppose I just write something else. Now it'll add up. Okay, now because they're both strings and I've associated a to define it as a string variable, they can add up. So another method we can use is use the format operator. So similarly how we did last time, we converted the int to a string. We can use the format operator. So in here, if I try to do something where I try to include, I want to include the age into this text. Suppose I did something like, suppose I did this. I did this plus age, and I tried to print it. You're going to see that it doesn't work. Text. You're going to see it doesn't work, and that's because of the concatenation issue. Age is an integer and text is obviously a string. So what we can do instead, we can use the format operator. So where I want to substitute my variable, I use curly brackets, okay, and I'm gonna do in the actual text operator, text dot format, okay. And in here, I'm going to substitute age. So what this means is every time we have these curly brackets, the curly bracket is going to correspond to whatever variable we placed inside these brackets, inside the format operator. So if you run this now, so there we have, my name is John, I am 56. So essentially what we have done, we have combined the number into the string using the format operator. We can actually do this with bigger code and with multiple code. So can you, if you observe this code, it says I want curly brackets, pieces of curly brackets, items for curly brackets, dollars. Each of these curly brackets we can assign to each of these integer numbers. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna do print order dot format brackets. So the first variable we want to, integer variable we want to include into our string is number of pieces, which is quantity. So quantity. Then it's going to be items. Then it's going to be price. Okay. So now when you run this, we see I want 3 pieces of 560 items for $49.96. That's it. It's that simple. The last thing I'm going to go through today is escape characters. Now suppose in our code we wanted to do something quite fishy. We wanted to introduce an illegal character that we're not supposed to be allowed to introduce. What you can do is use escape characters. So suppose I wanted to write something like Vikings, double brackets Vikings inside this code. If I try to run it, it's not going to work because it doesn't make sense. You can't just insert a double quote inside a double quote. So what we can use escape characters. Escape characters are essentially just backslashes. So you put a backslash before the quotation and one before the last quotation. So now if I run it, it's going to work. There's also different types of backslashes. So for example, if you do backslash n, what this is going to do, this is going to create a new line. So if I do this, it's going to create a new line where there's Viking. Then there's different types. You could use okay, so thank you guys for watching this video. I really hope all this content helped you, and hopefully it's going to help me, inshallah. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, please stay tuned for more videos.